All rise for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. No talking. Okay. Welcome to the work session. Into public comment. We have 3 minutes. We have some people that have signed up here. We have a couple of board presentations and a public hearing. So if you're here for the public hearing on the Village Latch Inn rezoning, you may want to hold your comments till the public hearing. That way you're not restricted by a 3-minute time frame. Okay, so Susan Stevenson. Okay, there you go. Gary Stein. Okay. Okay. That's easy. Evan. Okay. And Zoe's here for dog park. So, okay. Anyone else from the public who didn't sign up would like to make comment? Okay. All right. So, 2 board presentations. One is the first one's Cultural Center signage. Tom Knight, Chairman of the Cultural Center. Okay. Actually, what we're going to do is just speak into the microphone so that way everybody can.
They haven't done.
We have a copy.
Oh,
of
they
it.
have done.
You want to advance the Okay. Hi, I'm Tom Knight. Can you hear me? Have you getting this? Okay. I'm chairman of the Southampton Cultural Center, and I have a presentation here basically requesting approval of the board for capital expenditures at the Southampton Cultural Center, centering primarily around branding issues. And we'll just dive right in. This is the mission statement of the Cultural Center. I think you all know it's dangerous to read mission statements, but basically we're here to provide a rich and wide a programming set to a very diverse community, and the what we present is primarily performance, education, and exhibition. I know this is hard to read. Pass this around. This is this puts a bit more meat on the bones about give you some idea about what we do. Last year we had 25,000 people through the Southampton Cultural Center attending programs, performances, exhibitions, and participating in educational content for people of all ages. We celebrated our 28th year of Concerts in the Park, so we have some programming that's pretty mature, and it gets richer every year. The classes that we present educationally include art, music, theater, and again, it's for people of all ages. We have been instrumental in raising grant money for September Fest. This is the 3rd consecutive year. And we have a theater set of programming that gets better and better every year. Running right now is The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. Next is Sex, or What's She Really Thinking? There's a great program being put on Coretta. It's about Coretta King, A Promise to the Dream. And the last one is Osage County. A lot going on here that a lot of people don't really know about. And one of the reasons why they don't know about it is we have a branding issue. You can't read what's on the building on the right. This is a complex consisting of Veterans Hall on the left and the Levitas Center on the right. And the name on the Levitas Center is the Cultural and Civic Center of Southampton. So the words Southampton Cultural Center do not appear on the building, and that's the name of our operation. So that's considered a poor form in marketing terms. Also, you can't see, I know you can't tell, but the lettering on the Veterans Hall on the left is in one font, and the lettering on the Levitas Center is in another font, and possibly two other fonts, and they're gold, and the lettering on the Veterans Hall is black. So we wanted to tighten this up in terms of getting the real name on the building, and also in terms of getting some consistency in how the signage was put up. This is the entrance to the Levitas Center as it is today. This is what's proposed to go up in terms of lettering. The Southampton Cultural Center in bold, easy-to-read print. Kirsten and I have walked the park across the street to make sure that we have good visibility, and we do. This is the Levitas Center for the Arts, cleaned up and put on a white background. Both of these fonts are in the same font that the Veterans Hall is in. So this is the signage part of the presentation. With regard to how we present how we display what it is that is on in terms of programming, we have typically had posters made, weatherproof posters made, that were hung over the edges of the walls. If you see the steps going up to the Veterans Hall on the left, those are walls where you see the banners placed. And so the signage, the promoting whatever was going on, the best little whorehouse in Texas or whatever, was basically just draped over the wall. We want to make a capital expenditure here as well to put up 2 sets of poles so that we can display it above the wall, and we'll show what's playing at any given time and what's coming at any given time as well. So it helps to get the word out. So that's the summary of the presentation. Are there any questions from the board?
Nancy? Bill?
You're talking about 2 poles above the wall there?
Yes.
Isn't that going to block the
Oh, I can't.
all the windows, or am I seeing it wrong?
This is the, this is the
Last page.
handicap wheelchair access ramp over here.
Two.
And these
poles
walls
there.
are V-shaped here. They
Gotcha.
point outwards. So
Place.
these would be 2 poles planted at this elevation. 2 poles here and 2 poles here. So the banners will be up, so they'll be visible from the park. They'll be visible from Bill's Lane as well.
I got you.
Because now they just hang over.
Draping them over the side like this.
Right.
Do you know approximately what size they'll be?
3 by 6.
Okay.
So they're nice size.
Yeah.
Nice size. The budget for it is $4,000. That's for the poles. That funding we would see coming out of the trust fund that the village holds in benefit of the cultural center. And the signage itself is being sponsored by Ora Levitas, who we all know was a major part in getting the addition and improvements put into the exhibition hall.
Speaking of branding, is there any conflict with,
So-
what do you call them next door, Southampton Center?
No. Exactly, for conflict.
Yeah.
Southampton Center, no.
So the two areas that you will have these banners on, will that be the only thing that will be up there, or will there be additional banners? Because I see on this, it's directed by, so this is like additional banners, adding additional.
Yeah.
This is to replace it.
Oh, okay.
It replaces that, and they're interchangeable. They will
Yeah.
change as time rolls on.
Right.
I need supervision.
She's got you.
He helps out.
You got my back.
Charlie.
Yeah, that's the way it would work. And that's what we do right now. It's just that it's not very impressive to have ropes holding banners over a wall
I
with bricks
understand.
holding them down and behind the wall.
Rich, do you have any?
That's fine. Just
Okay.
Any questions from the audience?
in the first place, Cultural and Civic Center. Where did that name come from? Just,
Oh, Bill, you were part of the startup
Yes.
of that.
It's just.
you got any problem with that?
I don't think anybody had a dream or anything like that. It was just, seemed like a good idea at the time, and I think this is a better idea, so.
Okay.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay, great.
That it?
Yeah, so, why don't we, a motion to approve the signage changes to the Southampton Cultural Center on Pond Lane. So I'll make a motion to authorize the changes in signage in accordance with, well, actually, do these signs have to go in front of the ARB?
No, it's a village building.
It's a village
I mean,
building.
It's up to you whether you want it to or not.
Well, it's the same type of font and stuff like that, so we don't technically, okay.
This has been in front of the ARB as well.
Oh, it's been in front of the ARB, okay. All right, so I'll make a motion to support the signage change at the Cultural Center on Pond Lane.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Just in time, thank you.
Second presentation, it's a dog park here. Shelley.
No problem.
Just want to give you first a little bullet, kind of where the presentation's going to go. And I'll give you extended remarks after I finish speaking of everything I say, so you can look it over. This is just bullet points and locations. You can pass it to those two people?
Absolutely.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Is that all right? My name is Zoe Kamitsis. I live at 175 Herrick Road in Southampton. I've been a resident, a full-time resident of Southampton for 21 years. I've run businesses in Southampton, and I've been on the Animal Rescue Fund Board for 25 years, where I currently serve as an executive vice president of the board of directors. The objective here is to create a Southampton Dog Park pilot program. Nothing written in stone, something that we want to try. The location is next to Agawam Park Children's Playground at the base of the parking lot, on the southwest side of the parking lot behind Job's Lane near the Little Red Restaurant. This area is owned by Southampton Village, and the mayor has determined from the town that a dog park would be an approved use for this area, this site. This location has plenty of parking, and it has restroom facilities located not far away, and it could have running water if it came to that. And there is a tremendous need for a dog park in Southampton Village. We've collected, we decided we should prove to you that perhaps there was a need, so we took petitions out, and within a month we got 625 residents that were climbing all over themselves to sign this petition, and we got 60 merchant signatures from Job's Lane, from people who want the additional traffic that would come into the village to exercise their dogs, and also many of the merchants actually take dogs to work and have no place to take them to exercise. The nearest fenced, safe dog park on either side of us, the first one is West Hampton at the Bidewee Shelter in West Hampton, and the next one is Springs in East Hampton. So there's nothing in between Springs and West Hampton Beach. So this is something that is needed not only by Southampton Village, but by everyone who comes to the village, who walks their dog in the village, and who could walk and very easily come in and socialize their dogs at the end of their walk. And it could be a very charming, attractive addition to the village. Village lots are small. They're a quarter of an acre. Many people live in condominiums. There's no place for somebody to exercise their dog and socialize their dogs with other owners. For some dog owners, a dog park may provide the main opportunity for dog owners to socialize their dogs and to be with other their dogs to be with other dogs, and it's a primary source of recreation. We believe that dog owners deserve to have their taxpayer dollars used toward a safe, accessible place where they can meet other people and exercise their dogs. We believe the entire village benefits from this when dogs can be exercised safely at no cost to the surrounding population. Old Town Animal Hospital estimates it has 25,000 to 30,000 clients. Many of those are dog owners. There are so many dog owners, and as the empty nesters acquire dogs, those dogs take a big place in their lives, and they become like children, and you want your children to have fun doing things, and these dogs have fun socializing with other dogs when there are responsible owners and responsible pets. A dog park near Agawam Park would bring new people to the village and to village merchants. It promotes pet ownership, responsible pet ownership. It enables dogs legally to run off leash, which they're not able to do anywhere in Southampton Village. Turns an eyesore vacant lot into an amenity for all dog owners and dog lovers in the village. It eases the pressure on the beaches. Some merchants are already using this as a dog run without the safety features such as fencing because they have no alternative. It provides elderly and disabled owners with an accessible place to exercise their companions. Many non-dog owners may enjoy the company of dogs even if they don't own dogs and would like to sit there and watch the dogs. Summer dog events, such as agility competitions, could be held and would bring new people into the village. Enormous benefit to a large group of village residents for a very low capital investment. Since the proposed site is already owned by the village, it's not being used, the cost would be minimal. We estimate a cost of around $10,000 to create a dog park that would improve the look of the property and provide a huge benefit to a great number of residents. Fencing. Currently, it's fenced on two sides. We would propose to add fencing on the south and north sides. We also propose to put the south fence in line with the high brick wall of Agawam Park with plantings on the south side to shield the dog park from the single existing house that's alongside the park, so that there would be practically a third of the park between the dogs and the existing house. The north fence on the parking lot would need one double entry gate so dogs could come in and out without letting other dogs out, and one larger entry gate for handicapped and maintenance. The ground would need a modest cleanup and more grass planted. Perhaps a walking path that wanders through the area could be added. There's natural shade from the trees. No additional shade areas would be needed. And we'd propose 6 or 8 benches. There could be naming opportunity. There would be dog lovers who would love to put their dog's name or their ex-dog's name on a bench to remember them. We would propose 2 or 3 covered waste cans and 2 bag dispensers for disposing of the waste. Running water would be a plus, but it's not essential. Dog owners will bring water. A sign with park hours, such as dawn to dusk, along with basic rules, would be another expense. But the expenses are minimal here. We have 2 areas of fencing, we have a couple of garbage cans, we have a couple of doggy bags, and we have such a tremendous amenity for dog owners in the village. No park is good without a very caring group of people that run it and that watch over it and rules. Responsible dog owners know that there are very significant rules you must abide by in a dog park. Suggested rules. Visitors with dogs should make sure to let their dogs off the leash when entering the park, because dogs on a leash tend to fight more than dogs off a leash. And when they're off a leash, they're almost always friendly and easy. Carry a leash and be prepared to use it. Pick up after your pet immediately and dispose of waste properly. And dog owners in a small dog park like this are very vigilant about making other dog owners behave. They will tell you if your dog has done anything and you didn't see it. If your dog becomes unruly or plays rough, leash him or her and leave the park immediately. That's a rule. And anybody that doesn't follow that rule should leave the park. Be careful with treats so as not to excite dog competition. Children under 12 should be accompanied by an adult and should be supervised closely. And state law requires that all dogs must be licensed and vaccinated. That's New York Agriculture and Markets 109. No dogs in heat. Never leave your dog unattended. No more than 3 dogs per person. Dogs under 4 months of age should not come to a dog park because they can be hurt by older dogs. They're babies. You don't let babies into children's playgrounds. By entering the park, park users and dog owners assume all risk related to park use. And that's an important one. And most of the time, dog owners realize this. They're used to dogs. They're used to the risks of owning dogs. Going forward, we suggest trying a pilot program this fall and winter. Clear the land, fence the property, post the rules, and create the park with no publicity as a pilot project. Word of mouth will spread that people can make dog play dates at the park, and the park will evolve as it should, quietly and safely. Usually dog parks that are open all day have under 12 dogs at any one time, and often they are empty for many hours a day. The benefits would be great for dog owners in the village, and we believe the risks are minimal. And one of our volunteers drew this picture of what that vacant lot could be like. And it'd be very sweet. Perfect little grassy area with people sitting, watching their dogs and talking to each other and letting their dogs play together. It would be a very joyful thing for people to go by and see. And right now, it's nothing. We know that there are concerns that you might have, and perhaps we could address those, but here are 630 regular people and 60 merchants who say this is a great idea, and they need it. There's no place to go.
Thanks, Zoe. Guys have any questions for Zoe here?
No, she pretty much covered what she wants to do.
Okay. You know, you know how I feel about it.
I mean, they always say you should ask for the order when you do something like this. And, you know, I just think, you know, that this is not a hard thing to start and then to test out and see if it works. And, you know, I have never heard myself personally of a dog park closing because it didn't work. I never have heard of that. I've heard of people afraid of opening a dog park. But the fears are usually because they don't understand that people that go to a dog park are, for the most part, very responsible dog owners, and they're people that want to create responsibility in the dog world, and they want this for their dogs. So they don't want any incidents.
Steve, what would the liability be to the village? I mean,
Well, that was one of my questions.
I mean,
yeah.
because quite honestly, you know, you could have a prize dog down there that could be attacked, and they could turn to the village and say, "Look what happened on
Yeah,
your
I'd
your
have to
dog."
research that. I
Yeah,
wouldn't-
we'd
I
have
don't
to
know.
But
find
what would
that.
happen if that dog was walking down the street and a leash dog attacked him?
I'm not sure what
Yeah,
would happen.
I
It's
mean-
village property as well, but this is a planned dog park. That there's a difference, I think. It's, in other words, you're inviting animals to come in and socialize there. So I'm not
At
sure.
their own,
It's an important
yeah.
question.
No, I think it's a very important question.
I mean, I have no problem with the dog park per se. Incidentally, I have an ARF dog. We have a rescue dog we got from ARF.
Oh, great.
So, dog park, theory, I don't have any issues so much with that. I have an issue with the property itself, whether that's what we want to go forward with using it. I mean, we haven't decided. My point is whether that's the best use of the property itself, not whether the dog park's a bad idea. We just finally decided we're gonna tear down that building, so it's been a long, lengthy process what to do with this, or the inside or
We
something.
have.
Or maybe we haven't even decided that yet, so,
It's no use for them.
you know,
We're only
but
taking it
I don't
down on a
know.
provisional basis.
That's right. It's a pilot program to take.
Right.
see how-
Well, and that's another thing too, pilot program is, I don't think you can start something like that and get as much,
And then turn around and
and then
take it
say we're
away.
not doing it any longer. So my point is we need to decide what we're gonna do with our property first. If that's what we wanna do with public input, not just your presentation, that's what they want, in addition to your 600 signatures, then that's fine. If
I mean, we
other
can
pub-
bring a lot of public to a meeting if
Fine,
that's
well,
what you
that's-
would like.
that's
We
what I
thought we
would
would
prefer.
just start, with
Yeah.
a very reasonable presentation to tell you how much we want it and how much we care about it
Oh, no,
and
that's the
how
first
much
step.
it's needed.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the first step. But, I personally am just gonna say, go ahead and open up a dog park without hearing from other people in opposition to it. And again, I'm not one in opposition to the park. We as a board and other people haven't decided what's the best use of this particular property. Secondly, where's the 10K coming from to start it up and build it? Is that ours?
Also,
No, it would raise it.
That's all.
We can
raised?
raise, we could raise money if that's the issue for a fence and
Not an issue, it's just a
and a
question.
double door. I think we could raise that money.
I'm not saying you need to, but that's what I'm asking. Who's-
Yeah.
I also have to
Who's for
say,
that?
that property has some wet spots on it as you get closer to the lake. And my concern is, I'm sure that homeowners will pick up, dog owners will pick up after their dogs, but they're not gonna pick up urine.
No?
And so my concern is, over a long period of time, will that have any effect on the lake? I mean, we have just talked with homeowners about putting in proper planting, and maybe there has to be some planting there.
I would think that, from what I've understood, when parks have been concerned about the urine, they've done planting along the borders of the park. And we would be very,
That I would wanna
that
look
would,
into. That
we could
to
do
me
that.
is-
That would not hurt anything at all.
Right.
So you're actually talking about it, a third of the property anyway is a buffer area, because, and that's the part that's adjacent
To the lake, yes, we would be
You'd be
probably
able
on
to-
mostly the
you'd
dry
be able
part
to
of the
buffer
area.
You'd be able to put a.
But we could certainly plant behind that fence also and create a buffer from it going into that area. And that would be something we could do. This is so needed. I know that, it takes a long time to decide it, but if we would do a pilot project in the fall and the winter, it would be so much easier. You don't want to start a pilot project like this in high summer.
No.
We could see what the issues were, how it would evolve. So, I think if we could decide to try it, and the sooner the better, because then we could, begin to see how it would work. I think that you would find that this is a very popular use of the property. There are a huge number of dogs walking down the streets of Southampton Village. I thank you so much for your time.
So here's what we're
Thank
gonna do. Steve.
I'll check the
you
liability.
check the liability with the insurance. Give the
Yes,
the
ma'am.
board an opportunity to digest this, and then we can, and we'll be back in touch here. Okay. Bill, did you have anything you
Just
wanted to
one thought,
comment
it
on?
would be nice to, if you and anybody who's part of a group of yours, to go down there with the 5 of us, or the 6 of us, and just show us exactly where you would like it to be located and so on. You have a good idea. You look at an overhead map, and I'm not sure exactly, even though I've been down there many times, and I know that one house, that structure that we own, already has the fleas.
Right.
So
Well, there are
you don't have
things
to
you
worry
can put,
about.
you can.
But no,
there
but
are
anyhow, I
things-
would love to just go down and have you show us, this is what we're proposing.
I would
and
love
so
to-
on,
I would love to
and
do that.
Make sure
You-
that it
you
doesn't
tell me
offend a
when.
neighbor or something like that. It would be
Right.
good.
Michael, did you have any?
No, I didn't.
Just going to give you my comments that I wrote that you can have for your own discussion points.
I mean, just so that you know, I mean, it's hard for me because I handle the Parks Department, and that was purchased for parks. And I've had people come to me and say, we'd really like bocce courts down there. We'd really like to have tennis down there. We'd like to do all of that are human things. And if we now take it up with a dog park, I don't think we can do that anymore. So it was sort of like there've been people who have been coming with ideas on how to, use that property. So now we have another idea, so we'll have to,
Well, you have to remember now that the human part of the dog park is huge. The human part of the dog park signed 635 signatures, so there are a lot of humans attached to those dogs.
right.
Yeah, the one thing about like a bocce court compared, and a tennis court compared to a dog park is that you could end up with 20 people utilizing the dog park. And even on a tennis court, you have 2, maybe 4. That's,
Well, there's bocce leagues now that have become very popular, so that is a totally different
no,
thing.
I know, and they have the whole
Yeah, they have it up
league
at
that
the
goes up
town.
at the
Yeah.
rec center and stuff.
Mhm.
So it's, yeah. So why don't we do this? Brenda will schedule out a time where we can all go down and tour the property with you
Okay,
and look at this.
you tell me when, I'll be there.
Brenda will schedule it all out.
Okay.
And,
Yes, ma'am.
you've got all her contact information?
Here, Brenda, I'll give you a copy of this
You have your-
report that I did.
You have Zoe's assistance?
All my information is
contact
on here,
information?
Brenda.
Okay, all right.
It's all there.
Hi, Zoe.
There are a lot of four-legged creatures that are counting on me tonight, so if I seem a little,
Yeah, that's
if I
okay.
seem a little intense about it, it's because they've all been wagging their tail at me a lot. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay. It's a public hearing here. We've got the continuation of the Village Latch Inn rezoning. We have some people that want to speak here, so I'm just going to go by who signed up first, and then we'll go from there. Susan?
Susan Stevenson, I live in the Village on Toilsome Lane. I was at the previous meeting where the initial idea of downzoning the property to hotel motel was brought up. At the time, I asked the lawyer who was doing the presentation how many rooms there are at the Village Latch, and she said she didn't know, but I looked on their website, and they claim to have 30 rooms. But they're asking to have 76 rooms, which is a lot. I then called, and then there was a discussion about is it the Topping Rose House or the Rose Topping? I think it's the Topping. I would have made it the Rose Topping House. The Topping Rose House. I called them to see how many rooms they have, because that was put into play in this presentation, that you wanted a five-star resort and all kinds of things. They have 22 rooms only, which is even below the number that the Village Latch has. I then went on Gurney's website just to see, because I think 76 rooms is really a lot for anything in the village. And they only have 109 hotel rooms, which I was surprised by. They have meeting rooms, but I think that the density and the downzoning are not good for the people who have homes here and who have condos nearby, or for Hill Street. As far as I know, these structures are not landmarked. Does anyone know? Is that true?
That's what, I
That's
don't,
what-
I don't know what the answer on that one is, as far
Okay,
as the
so
landmark
I think
condition.
that in the newspaper it said they were not landmarked.
Okay.
Marked. So theoretically, I guess they could be torn down. Is that true?
No, that doesn't mean that they're not
No.
protected.
Oh,
They're contributing, they're in the
They're in
historic
the
district.
historic district.
Oh.
And they're,
They're-
people use landmarking in different contexts, but, the way our historic district is set up, if you have a contributing property in the historic district, you need a certificate of appropriateness from the
from you?
Board of Architecture Review and Historic Preservation in order to make any exterior changes.
So does it mean landmark means you can't do anything, and the other thing
La-
you just said means
Landmarked
you can
is
do?
a meaningless term in the context of our
Okay.
particular historic district code.
Okay.
Some municipalities have landmarks, other municipalities have historic districts. You know, when people in general talk about a landmark, you're talking about an isolated building that's not in a historic district, but is, by itself, has historic status. But the way our historic code was drafted many years ago, it's set up with a historic district. And then the Board of Architectural Review and Historic Preservation has an inventory of the properties that are in the historic district and whether or not they're contributing properties or not. And of course, if they're contributing properties, then that puts a whole different picture on any application.
And these buildings and that lot is in historical district, or we're not sure?
That's, I believe, what we were told.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes, Susan, one, I think this whole area is in an historical district. And then, as I mentioned at the last meeting, that status remains.
Right, that's not changing.
That doesn't change. And I don't know what the restrictions are, but there are restrictions on lot coverage in an historical district, which is worth looking at. And if I'm not mistaken, in the material that we were given, InterScience had said that the Department of Health claims there's 58 to 59 units.
Still
And-
twice as many as
Yeah, it
currently
is.
exists. That's a
It is.
big place, 60 hotel rooms.
But I think the 76
Well,
units is only conceptual. It's
The-
not.
Well, that's
No,
what
there-
that's what the
there are-
presenter said.
Yeah.
So
there-
I don't know what their intention is.
Let's talk about
What this
units.
is,
There are-
this is
there are-
an application to put the property
In
into
the-
the motel district.
Right, I understand that completely.
It's been recommended to be put in the motel district by the village master plan for a long time now. If it does get rezoned into the motel district, then that by itself doesn't change anything. In order for the owner or a future owner of the property to do any follow-up in terms of redevelopment or additional development,
Does not affect the density?
they would have to go to the zoning board of appeals for special exception use approval, because a hotel motel use is a special exception use in the hotel motel district. Of course, it would also have to go to the planning board for site plan approval. It would also have to go to the Board of Architectural Review and Historic Preservation for the historic approval, and Health Department, et cetera. So what they presented is a concept plan to show what might potentially be able to be done if the rezoning were granted. But that concept plan is not a plan that's actually before us.
Right, I understand that, but if you allow them to, what I call downzone the property, because it's in a residential, non-conforming in residential, and it is surrounded by residential, high-end condos, houses, it's the entrance to the village, and I feel that the people, that allowing a zone change where there are residences, which one of you up there has protected the rights of individual house owners or condo owners? This is always about making things bigger, making more noise, light, traffic. And to me, that could be detrimental to the people who live around there, or for me, who wants to go to the village. But if it becomes impossible to get there, I won't. And I live nearby. But I'm not sure that I don't understand. I understand that it may be theoretical, but I haven't seen that the village has been adverse to any of this kind of increasing density, more light, more noise, more traffic. And that in this particular circumstance, a lot of people are affected, the entire village is affected, and maybe a price that, too high a price. So I'm very concerned about it. And I don't think it's the worst thing if it remained an inn, which was non-conforming, but from the historical point of view, from like 1915 or whatever they said. I don't think that that's so terrible. And
But somebody's going to buy it.
well,
Okay,
I
it's-
understand.
Somebody's going to buy it, okay? And it's historically operated as an inn. So what I would ask you to do is reach out to the owners and tour the property. That's what I'd ask you to do. That's what we all did. And then think about the improvements that would have to be made on that property. Now, the Department of Health says there's 59 rooms, and that's what they're approved for. There are probably 68 rooms in that place, at least. So it's not, from a density standpoint, there's not that
They
many more.
advertise 30 rooms.
Well, that's
They're
not,
like
that's
suites.
not right.
That's
There's
what
12 in the Terry
the
Cottage.
Topping Rose House does.
There's 12 in the cottage. There are 22 in the Village Latch. There's another building that has another 10. Then there's the vice president's room, that area that has 10 plus. And then there are 2 buildings in the back that have at least 10 to 12 different rooms
Bedrooms
back there.
or rooms?
Rooms that are separated, when they separate and they can rent them out.
Well, why do they advertise that they have 30 rooms?
I've never seen their advertising. I've seen
their
advertising, the advertising that I've seen shows it's 60-plus rooms, almost 70 rooms.
Well, that's not on their
Motel rooms
website.
in the back, those are separate buildings.
Yeah.
Are those, do they have C of Os? I mean, is that all legal back there?
That's been a debate
Oh, okay, well,
topic
now
for
we're
a very
getting
long
somewhere,
time.
aren't we?
That's why
Okay,
nobody can answer.
I'm just bringing up these issues because.
That's why nobody can answer the question here, and on the number of rooms and stuff. And
Okay.
that's the
But
reality.
I feel like if you change the zoning, yes, it's for sale. It's one property in the village. When I want to sell my house, if I wanted to add 15 rooms, that just wouldn't be a
How many people have come to
possibility.
you and said, okay, I want to subdivide these 5 places and build 5 houses on there?
I don't think that would be.
I've had
Okay,
people
I don't
come
think
to
that
me.
would be so terrible.
Well, I've had
Because-
people that come to me and say they want to do
Because when the weddings and the
condominiums.
lights and the restaurant get going, it'll be unfortunate for the people who live nearby. And that is
But
residential.
there are ways to mitigate all of that stuff.
Perhaps.
There are. I mean, you have the Southampton Inn who does exactly the same stuff there. They have weddings that they go on. They have large parties that occur on the property. They've got tennis courts, pools, everything that's there.
But its location is slightly different.
Well, it's not really. It's not that.
No, but you keep extending this non-residential.
No,
part.
what we're trying to do is look at a historical use of a piece of property there and protect that historic use. That's the way I don't know what the rest of the board
Okay,
feels.
I don't particularly see it that way,
Well, that's-
obviously.
yeah.
We have a disagreement.
No, we'll agree to
But
disagree. I don't.
I
have a
am
problem.
concerned, and I'm voicing my concerns to
Okay,
you.
and I greatly
Thanks.
appreciate your input. Thanks. Okay, Gary?
Good evening. My name's Gary Stein, 91 Hill Street, Southampton. I'm representing 91 Hill LLC, the Southampton Inn. I submit this statement to the board in regard to a proposal to rezone a portion of Hill Street from residential to motel zone to accommodate, legalize, and possibly expand currently non-conforming uses at the Village Latch. I'm the controller of the Southampton Inn, which is the neighboring adjacent property to the Village Latch. I strongly urge the board to set this proposal aside for a minimum of 60 days so that we and other neighbors and concerned parties have an opportunity to review the proposal and its impact on our property, neighborhood, and village. We were given less than 1 week's advance notice of this proposal when it was first submitted to this board and require adequate time to retain architectural and legal advice so that we can provide an informed and substantive comment. We note for the record that one of the reasons cited as justification for this rezoning was the difficulty in meeting the legal strictures of owning and operating a hotel in a residential zone as a pre-existing non-conforming use. Such a limitation has its difficulties in meeting all zoning requirements, and we have had to jump through all the hoops during the last decade and a half that we have owned the inn and the adjacent International Plaza. However, offsetting these difficulties is the benefit of preserving the unique and special character of Hill Street and the village. We urge the board to proceed carefully in its deliberation on creating this new zone that would facilitate the demolition of the existing Village Latch to be replaced with a new motel and conference center. Thank you for your time and attention. Thank you.
Let's see, Kyle, yeah.
Good evening, Kyle Roscoe. I live in Southampton town and Noyak Beth Staghover. I was coming to just speak upon the idea of making the hotel and motel zone extend to the Village Latch property because I feel as though it should be labeled what it appropriately has been and currently operates as. And I think that everyone should see that this property has been operating as a hotel inn for over 30 years. And I think the first time the hotel motel zone was proposed, I think was as early as 1991, not a week before the previous hearing. I think this was a long time coming that it was put on the table, and I think that it was going in the right direction. I think we just need to push it further so that it just recognizes what actually is being done there and allows for somebody who would take hold of the property in the future to be able to and have to take the proper and correct steps in order to make that property conform and do exactly what the village wants it to do for the next possible owners to take, the steps needed. And there aren't particularly that many hotels in the village of Southampton. There's a couple, and there's a couple of inns. And the Southampton Inn, which is directly adjacent to 101 Hill Street, has, I believe, 91 rooms operating currently, and it's on a smaller piece of property than the Village Latch is. So I think, as far as density is concerned, it wouldn't even be stepping up to what their current hotel next door is already operating under. And I think the village needs some new refreshing ideas and energy infused into it to bring more people here from other places, because the Hamptons have become even more of an international draw as time goes forward. And there are visitors who don't always have a friend or a family member to stay with here. And I think that needs to continue to be recognized. And it would be positive for the village having something that's new and exciting. Look at what the Topping Rose brought to Bridgehampton. A lot of good energy has been brought there, and historical preservation is something that's part of that. And I think that historically the Village Latch has buildings on it that are historical. The front two buildings, I believe those two are historical buildings. And everything that in the back of them, which is the property is tremendously deep, is of a different nature from what I've been told and what I've researched. And, being that the property has operated as such and, is just looking to continue doing what it's been doing, maybe by adding 10 more rooms, that wouldn't change the density or the area's use from what it currently is. And I think that there aren't any other options for hotel and motel zones to be added. So as far as, where you are located, I think that this property sits in a very key place for it to remain operating as it is and just be recognized as such. And, that area has been historically in a hotel-motel zone for over 100 years. I guess the Irving Hotel was directly across the street, and one of the buildings on that property was the person who was in charge of managing that hotel's home residence. And that's the Terry Cottage on the property currently. So I feel, though, there can be some opposition. I think we should really move forwards and give it the designation it deserves. Thank you.
Evan?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. My name is Evan Gitter. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Cohen and Warren, 80 Maple Avenue, Smithtown, New York, 11787. My office represents Whitefield Condominium, which is a neighboring property owner on Hill Street to the proposed site. My office was just engaged in this matter yesterday. I had the opportunity to speak with the applicant's attorney, Ms. Strunk, who very graciously provided us with copies of her application and the exhibits. She had also advised that she would not be attending this evening, but was asking the board to continue the public hearing portion of tonight to the November 14th date. On behalf of my client, I was requesting that the board actually extend it to a further date, preferably in January. That way my client could have the opportunity to investigate, maybe commission a traffic study, and determine whether or not it intends to oppose this application.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah,
G-I-T-T-E-R? T-T.
I have the card right now.
Thank you.
I have the card.
great. That's it, everybody who's signed up. Anyone else would like to speak in reference to the public hearing? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Priscilla Ullman. I'm an owner at Whitefield next door. The Village Latch property is surrounded on 3 sides by residential housing. We have Whitefield, one side. We have 3 times the amount of property that the Village Latch does. We have 15 acres approximately. We only have 29 owners. You're talking about somewhere, the Village Latch is talking about so much more density on so much smaller, I believe it's a 5-acre lot. I can personally barely get out of our driveway almost ever on a weekend to begin with. I mean, to the point where I just plain have to plow right in front of somebody and hope they don't hit me. There's a lot of traffic coming in this village already. I think the idea of this is increasing the density way too much. It is at the beginning of a residential neighborhood. We have, all right, Whitefield next door, directly across the street on Hill Street, right across from Whitefield, between the church and First Neck Lane. There are, I believe, 4 or 5 residential houses right on the corner where the Irving used to be. There are the Irving Houses condo. I'm not sure how many units there are in there, but it's all residential. Then behind the proposed Village Latch change in zoning, that's the, let's see, Cooper Farms development. There's a lot of residential people all the way around this. I personally can tell you that right now, the way they're operating there's a huge amount of noise every weekend out there. There's loud music, there's lots of noise in the pool, there's a lot of yelling, screaming, cannonballing in the pool. And I'd actually like to know why all those illegal structures are allowed to remain there. If that were my house, you'd be all over me.
Well, I know the building department's been involved with this property for way before I've been was in here.
Well,
so.
I mean, if that were my personal house, I would not be allowed to leave all that junk back there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Anyone else from the public would like to speak? Okay, we're gonna keep the hearing open for quite a while. Okay, so but I thank you everyone for their input here, and okay, we're gonna go on here.
We have 2 letters to read on that, Mark? Or?
Okay, we have 2 letters to read into.
Evelyn Conrad. Some of us still miss the lovely Irving House Hotel and we keep fond memories of time spent there, but a rezoning of the Village Latch is not the answer at this time. I do still remember our Irving House Hotel reservation, my new husband's and mine, for Memorial Day weekend in 1960 for $24 a night. Instead, we soon rented a room for $7 at 21 Elm Street, recommended by our Chamber of Commerce. We rented that house for the next 22 years. However, every summer weekend for all the years until the Great Fire, we had nightcaps in the Irving House Library, listened to Hugh Shannon on the piano. I remember drinking a strawberry daiquiri while you played, and we all watched on television astronaut Neil Armstrong take the first steps on the moon. This is too chic, I said. But that was in the days of parallel parking on Main Street, the days of numerous potato fields, including what is now the Roscoe Place subdivision, for years under the Epley administration, attack in favor of greedy spec builders of hated McMansions. That was in the days before Stop the Highway turned our village streets into highways. That was in the days before the greedy overdevelopment in the East End drove out the working middle class, substituted second home McMansions for potato fields, and caused Hill Street to be a virtual parking lot every weekday morning from 6:30 till 9:30 a.m., jammed with pilgrimages of nurses, teachers, workers driving from Up Island homes to jobs in the Hamptons from 3 to 6 when they were driving from east to west again. Before the mayors even considered doing another grandiose giveaway to the overbuilders by rezoning the Village Latch, I believe it was mandatory for the trustees to order a traffic study to see whether it's conceivable to foist more than 100 additional drivers on Hill Street and on our formerly bucolic village. Of course, there should be a comprehensive plan before there is any zoning decision, but considering the lawless way that the Zeppeli bunch voted for the zoning amendment of November 10, 2005, in violation of the last comprehensive plan for the residential village, the Southampton Village Comprehensive Plan of May 2000, how the same corrupt Epley administration continues to enforce this illegal zoning ordinance on unhappy village residents, a new comprehensive plan dictated and rigged by this corrupt administration may not be the answer. Protest gatherings to recall elections by the disenfranchised village voters may be today's answer. Second one's from Nico Strunk. As I stated on the record, public hearing on October 10th, 2013, and unable to attend the board's work session on October 22nd. I ask that the board keep the public hearing open through the board's next meeting on November 14th, so that I can have an opportunity to respond on behalf of the applicants to any matters that might be raised on the 22nd.
Okay. Here we go. All right. Anyone else would like to speak? Okay, all right. We'll be keeping the matter open for a while, so, okay.
Would I be correct to assume then that it will be on for the November 14th
Yes.
work session, but beyond that as well?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks. All right, great. Thanks.
All right, we have one communications to the board. Commission on Veterans Patriotic Events requests permission to hold a short parade in honor of Veterans Day on Monday, November 11th, 2013 at 11 a.m. The service will immediately follow in Agawam Park. We would also like to participate in the parade and the service. Sincerely, Susan Stinky.
Make a motion to authorize the Commission on Veterans Patriotic Events to hold a Veterans Day parade in accordance with their letter dated October 20th, 2013.
A second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolutions, resolved that the reading of the minutes for the public session on October 10th, 2013 be dispensed with, that those minutes be accepted as filed by the village administrator, and that the action taken at the meeting be and hereby ratified and approved. Got a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that the claims for the warrants dated October 22nd, 2013, totaling $343,445, warrant 8 general fund, $1,369, warrant 9 trust fund, and $31,883.98, warrant 5 capital reserve fund, and the village payrolls for the period October 4th to October 27th, 2013, be ordered and approved. Got a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Item 1, 71 Hill LLC, rent for the building inspector, $4,635. Abtron Associates, pipe and boiler removal in the basement, $2,500. AEC Engineering, design and construction, $8,494.75. Pipe and boiler removal in the village hall. And another payment for project management, $3,600. Aldo Andrioli, 2 payments for July and August engineering bills totaling $6,500. This was previously issued a while back, but he lost the check, so it's a reissue. Atlantic Coast Embroidery PSD uniforms, $1,197.02. Page 2, Coastal Fire Systems, fire hose for the fire department, $8,964, and another payment from $88.66 for bailout harnesses and training. Page 5, payment to Life for streetlights, $6,437.05. Page 6, New York State Health Insurance for November, $229,212.71. All for the state control, August parking fines, $21,674. Perfect Deck Construction, U.S. flags, $2,610. Page 7, Rapid Recovering, towing service, September, $1,150. Page 9, payment to Town of Brookhaven for parting services, $8,153.64. Geico Security for 25 Jobs Lane, $1,455.42. Vehicle Tracking Solutions, GPS for the DPW Department, $1,223.92. And Verizon September phone bill, $3,663.16. Page 10, Right Risk Management Defensive Driving Course, $1,190. Trust warrant, Fred Bertrand, one payment to $1,369, which is tax sale redemption. And capital reserve warrant, AEC Engineering, $3,478 reimbursable expenses for the elevator project. AEC Engineering project management for the elevator, $4,350. And 2 payments to JAG Construction for the shaft construction, $12,055 and $12,000 even. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that a public hearing be held at 6 p.m. on Thursday, November 14th in the boardroom at Village Hall, 23 Main Street, Southampton, New York, 11968, to hear citizens' views on local needs with respect to the community development program for the year 2013. Do I have a motion?
Make that motion.
Second? Second. Further discussion?
What is this?
That's
That's
the
the-
annual, like, $25,000 that we normally split.
Block grant.
Block grant.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees approve the appointment of James Phillips as a probationary member of the Fire Police effective October 22nd, 2013. Have a motion?
Can I make that motion?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the following payments from the capital reserve account, subject to permissive referendum. AEC Engineering, $7,828.98 from the Facilities Reserve. J Construction, $24,055 from the Facilities Reserve. Got a motion?
Make the motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And this is on what?
This is for the
Elevator?
shaft.
Okay.
Right. And the last one is resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the hiring of Kathleen Pobat as a phlebotomist for the Village Police
Pobat
Department.
and it's
Yeah, exactly.
phlebotomist, okay.
I got it right last time. At a rate of $175 per drawer as needed. Have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Just,
You got that
just,
clarified?
we tabled this at the last meeting, had a conversation with the chief. It's, an as-needed basis. We have somebody that's already on there, so it's an additional person. It's the same reimbursement rate as that
Okay.
person, so.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, discussion items, village improvement, clock tower.
Yeah, just, when he did is, David Gillespie came to me and, in reference to, a clock that, the Village Improvement Association wants to install down at the corner of, is that Bypass and Pond Lane, down by the flagpole. I was trying to get some kind of read from the board, and I said I would bring it to the board. There's copies of what they want to do in here. What I'd like for everybody to do is just review this, go down to the site and look at it and think whether or not something you would want to, you all right there, Mitch?
Fine. So you look over at me.
Get all excited about clocks and, all right. So, and then give some kind of feedback. It's the, VIAS is wanting to do a project in the village, and they've talked about a clock for many years. So I don't know if anybody has any feedback right now, or you want to just absorb this.
Just looking at the picture, how big is the top part of that, the actual, do you have dimensions of that?
It's almost like a foot.
Where are you
Sorry.
getting?
Yeah,
Looking
It's in the
at
discussion items.
Oh, okay.
yeah, like a foot and a half. So.
Is that
Well,
any-
I think
What's a
the,
12?
Is that
Basically, it's almost
counterintuitive? Is that
it's a 12-foot.
counterintuitive?
It's a 12-foot high
is that
clock.
ki-
Is what it is.
Is that counterintuitive to the increased view that the Southampton Cultural Center wants to promote?
I'd have to.
I was under the impression that the stand that it sits on is 11 and a half feet, and that it says here 18-inch slight openings, meaning that's another 18 inches.
I thought when I talked to him, he told me it was it's basically a 12-foot high
Well, that
total
would be,
project.
yeah, that would
so,
probably be a little
yeah.
over 12 feet.
And where are they going to locate this?
I'll tell you exactly where it is, because he
Corner of,
brought it up.
bottom of
Here is the park.
Culver.
Okay,
and the-
here is Pond Lane. Here's Culver. Here's the funny little
Oh, yes. The
automotive
automobile,
place.
Right,
Here's the road that comes down, and here's Monument Square,
right.
here,
Well, they want to put it right in front of the Christmas tree?
kind of near the.
No,
Christ-
it actually doesn't impact line of sight, and then
Right.
no trees have to be removed or anything cut back. So
So you'll have a clock
Yeah.
facing
Well, I'm
this
trying to
way,
put on that
this
corner,
way,
so kind of
this
corner
way,
to the-
and this way.
Where our Christmas tree is.
Face.
yeah, and then in that general area. So you can go down and
Is there
walk
any
and-
significance to having it go there? Or is that just
Personally
some-
speaking, I think this has to go before the,
ARB.
yes,
Okay.
because this looks like a French clock to me, and we're like a 1640 village, so I don't know. I just think it has to fit in.
You have to get somebody who has
Good eye.
better eyes than I to
Well,
be able
that's
to
what I'm saying, it
respond
should
to
go
that.
before the architectural.
Okay.
Construction review board. Don't you
That's-
feel that way? I think it should go before A or B.
I'd love somebody to pass,
Yeah, right.
just walk up one day and it's there, but I'm not against the idea. I'd love to think that the clock was as appropriate as possible.
Yeah, that's
Right.
my thinking.
Okay. So why don't we do this and we get some feedback from, well, you've got the beautification committee. I know it was brought in there, but I don't know if anybody
We
got a
never saw
chance.
pictures of it, though.
So why don't we take this to beautification also, get feedback from these guys?
Yeah.
That's probably been very successful with that, and then we'll respond to it. Okay?
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Sounds good to me.
Steve, you want to do a
Yeah,
village hall
just give you an
renovation?
update where we're at. The shaft itself is up through the third floor, up to the roof. We have one change order that we are negotiating at this point in time. When we open up the wall on the north side, in the back part of the shaft, the windows were still in there from the original building, which had to come out. Now that wall is all kinds of setbacks which need to be evened out. So they're trying to figure out the best way to do that with regard to making that a smooth entry for the shaft itself. So that's a little bit of a weak hold up there. They came in over the weekend, they took out the rest of the pipes down the basement. The boiler is gone. As you see, the Gershow recycling bin back there, they're pulling the radiators. So between tomorrow night and Thursday night, every piece of steel that is related to the heating system or was related to the system will be out of the building. The pipes that are running through everybody's offices between the first and second floor will be removed that evening. And I stopped here on Sunday. I can't believe how they actually moved some of these plates into this Gershow recycling. I mean, they weigh hundreds and hundreds of pounds. It was just an incredible job. But the basement is really coming home very, very well. It's the cleanest I've ever seen it. But they're doing a great job. But, you know, they've got a couple more radiators on the second floor, third floor to get rid of tomorrow. But we're moving along.
Are you saying you're going to move these radiators?
These are all being removed because wherever you see a radiator now is going to be a baseboard. But we want to try to get as much steel into the Gershow because we get paid for what's ever in there. So the more weight we can get in there, the better off we are. So, but these will all be pulled. Our system is shot. I mean, it was a hole in a boiler. So what we're doing is we're doing two gas-fired boilers, which will cover the first and second floor, and then subject to what happens with regard to the third floor, that will be a forced air system that will be mounted on the third floor to handle on the roof rather to handle the third floor. Right. And then in conjunction with that, we're working with Jim Messiano right now to apply for a grant for a generator, which is a 25% match, which is a great deal because, you know, our generator is from the year of the hill anyway. But that's in the process of being, I think it has to be submitted by the 31st of October. All right?
Are they radiators or radiators?
Baseboard.
So Steve, how long will it
Depends
be
if you're in
before
New
you will
York or
have
not.
this? Because it's going to get
Well,
a
we
little
have heat now up to, to cover about 23 degrees, which are those units that are up on the walls
Okay.
there. So the real deep cold, we have time for. The bid documents should be done by Friday. We'll give about a 2-week turnaround to get the bid out there, do the walkthrough and get the bid results. So probably about 5 weeks, we would have a regular burner system in. But we're covered for quite a while because these things work pretty well.
I was thinking about the rest of the building. What happens in the rest of the building? Are the radiators coming out, like where everybody works?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone is coming out.
But every office has.
Right,
That, I
yeah,
didn't
because we
realize
put
they
these
all-
in last year for the AC.
Right, I didn't realize
To
that all
remove the
offices-
window units, so this covers both the heat and the AC, but it's only good till the outside temperature is 23 degrees. After that, it just can't, can't manage it.
Bring your coat.
We'll have to postpone the November hearing of the latch.
You sound like you're hoping for
Know
snow.
about that. Brenda better bring some clothes. Clothes cold.
Okay. All right, great. So, comments from board meeting members there? Rich?
No, I'm good. Other than everybody just have a safe and happy Halloween and trick-or-treating coming up next week.
Exciting.
Mike?
We should really, Grandpa.
Congratulations.
You had your grandchild.
I haven't quite,
What did you have? A little?
boy. My daughter had a little boy, Andrew Michael D'Angelo.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Put your specs on.
very
Yeah.
nice.
So,
Yeah, I should wear my glasses now.
sorry to derail you on your comments there, so.
No, but we all should thank Steve because this renovation is it's a big project, you know. And then I going through those type of things, and I know that you got your hands full during the day with some kind of disaster that's happening, and
It's always a saying when you never know what's behind the wall when you open it up.
you never know, and especially with an older building. But it is so great to have the thought that the building department is going to come back into the village hall And it's a really important thing.
Yep.
It's a big, big step, and I say thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
No, I'm good.
Bill?
Nothing.
Okay. Just a reminder that at 25 Job's Lane at the Southampton Center, they've got on Saturday night is the Halloween party, and it's pretty cool. They've got the haunted house that is set up in there. I just went over before the board meeting to tour it. It's done a great job in there. So I would encourage, if you're going to be here. Well, the Halloween party is an adult party. The haunted house is
Open over the weekend.
set up for kids also, so it'll be open up. We've got the Ragamuffin Parade at 1 o'clock, starting at Agawam Park, and
So
it's at 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. And then also, the chief's here, and we've actually set it up to have Elm Street closed on Halloween Day. We've got 9 guys that are going to be working in the area, and another residents on Elm Street. They always do a fantastic job. So if anybody wants to help them out and take candy to their houses, I'm sure they would be very appreciative of that gesture. But other than that, I don't have anything else to.
So I just wanted to
Yep.
just acknowledge Southampton Fire Department. This past weekend, there was a camporee for the Boy Scouts in Sears Bellows Park. So, and the theme of it was emergency preparedness. So, Southampton Fire Department showed up with a couple of trucks, and a few of the juniors, members of the juniors, showed up as well. And I also want to thank all the Suffolk County Sheriff was there, Suffolk County Police, Hampton Bays Fire Department, several EMS departments from here to Patchogue were around. So, I just want to acknowledge our department for that, and thank all the departments who showed up and made that a successful weekend for the Boy Scouts.
Great, thanks.
Just on the Halloween party, I just have to add one little thing
Yeah.
here. Fairly got me real good the other day.
Okay.
She asked me to open the building up for somebody,
Yeah.
to start the decorating or continue the decorating. So I go into the closet with the light switches for the auditorium, and I open the closet door, and in there is a skeleton sitting in a chair. And she didn't tell me about it, but she got me good.
That was
You were
that was
scared?
Mr. Parrish, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
So, the ghost. So we're going to have a second public comment. Anybody from the public would like to make comment? Okay. I'm going to make a motion to adjourn to executive session for the purpose of discussing personal matters involving village employees.
Second? Second. All in favor?